wiring harness. The fun part. Now this is all the parts that I told you not to lose, where they come into play. And you see I got the coil back in place, which I already zoomed in on before. Everything else is back in place. Now, remember.
Doing now?
Connecting back the wiring harness back to where it walls.
That's that big spider looking thing, right?
No, the big spider thing's already back in.
Wow, you're fast, man.
Spider's already in. If you're talking about the big mess of looms, which is these are looms, alright? This, yes, I'm talking about, this is the wiring harness. This is the tedious part. You gotta make sure everything is exact. Everything goes right back up the place where it's supposed to go. So it looks nice and neat and presentable for the customer, so the customer never knows that you are in here.
That's why I deal with him, y'all, because he knows what to do.
Okay. Now. EGR valve. Connected. Attach sensor. It's connected next. I'm glad that we did this when we could, because if we didn't do this when we could, we'd wind up having a lot more problems than this. What happens is it clogs the EGR valve, clogs up the entire intake system with carbon. Car doesn't run right, and it keeps getting worse and worse as it goes. And for those people who don't know what an EGR system is, EGR stands for exhaust recirculation valve. Exhaust gas recirculation valve, should I say. That's what the EGR valve is. A lot of cars have a lot of problems with those, but on this truck, it's not mounted on the exhaust, it's mounted right in front of the intake manifold, which is right here. You're not going to be able to see it from your perspective, but it's right below this big canister right here. You can see a cylinder about roughly that big with a plug in the front of it, and what happens is the exhaust gases get recirculated and recycled from the intake manifold to help the car run a little more efficient, less carbon dioxide, less pollution, so on and so forth. Now, remember that bolt that I told you about? Right there? Put it back on. That's for the ground. Ground's right to the thermostat housing. Okay, now that we got the entire wiring harness on and in, everything's plugged in the right place. You don't want to mess that up. Just take your time, no worries. And what happens is afterwards, what we do is we, of course, put the hose back on for the intake. Very simple. All you need is a flathead screwdriver. Put it in place and put the other part on. Sometimes these are a little tricky getting on, but no big deal. That's one on. Okay, and that part's on. Then tighten up the screw, and that'll be that for this side.
There you go.
I know a lot of you gearheads are saying, oh, he's got a screwdriver, but he's using a socket on a bit driver. That's right. There's a lot, you gotta remember, a lot of clamps also use an 8mm. A lot of these trucks usually come with a clamp that sits over here. The some reason, this truck doesn't have it. I'll point to it again after I'm finished putting this on.
Wet.
Now, the clip that I'm talking about, the clip that usually goes, is usually mounted right underneath here, and it comes around and it locks on top of the cover for the engine. Got everything back together, as you can see, the engine's all nice and clean, tight, and spider's in. Let's see how it starts up and runs. Make sure there's no tools under the hood. We're clear.
Robbie the man, yo.
He's running beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Well, that job in the shop, $1,500.
Anything you want to say to the people out there, man?
It takes time, takes patience, but you want to know what? You see the end result? It runs beautiful. One step at a time.
How can people get in contact with you if they need their vehicle fixed?
Leave me a comment on my page and I guarantee I'll be able to get in touch with you. Give a phone number if you're on Staten Island. Whatever you need done, all you gotta do is pick up the phone. That's all it is. Alright. Also, it's Robbie79@yahoo.com or 79Robbie on the YouTube. I'll see you next time with the next video. Have a good one.